I never believed in ghosts, never believed in anything I couldn't see or touch or explain with logic. My mom used to say I was too practical for my own good, that I'd miss out on the magic in life if I kept reducing everything to facts and formulas. She was probably right, but it kept me grounded, kept me sane, or at least I thought it did. That was before the radio, before I understood that some things don't need to make sense to be real. I moved into the apartment on Harlow Street in late September. It wasn't much to look at. Third floor walk up in a building that smelled like old carpet and boiled vegetables, the kind of place where the paint peels in long strips and the radiator clangs like someone's hammering on the pipes all night. But it was cheap, and it was mine, and after 6 months of crashing on my buddy Derek's couch, I would have taken anything with 4 walls and a door that locked. The landlord was this older guy named Vernon, thin as a rail, with these watery blue eyes that never quite looked at you directly. He handed me the keys without much ceremony, muttered something about trash day being Tuesday, and started to leave. Then he stopped in the doorway and turned back. Previous tenant left some stuff, he said, in the closet. You can keep it or toss it, don't matter to me. I asked him why the last tenant left. He shrugged. People move. That's what they do. He left before I could ask anything else. I didn't think much of it at the time. I spent the first week just getting settled, unpacking boxes, arranging furniture, trying to make the place feel less like a tomb. The apartment was small. 1 bedroom, a narrow kitchen, a living room with a window that looked out over the alley. The walls were thin enough that I could hear Mrs. Chen next door watching her game shows every night, the canned laughter bleeding through like a distant echo. It was lonely, but I didn't mind. After everything that happened with Rachel, after the breakup and the lawyers and the endless arguments about who got what, I wanted lonely. I wanted quiet. I wanted to disappear for a while. I found the radio on a Saturday. I was cleaning out the bedroom closet, pulling out old wire hangers and shoeboxes that smelled like mildew, when I saw it sitting in the back corner. It was big, heavy. One of those old tabletop models from the 50s, with a wood cabinet that had gone dark with age, and a fabric speaker grill that looked like it had been clawed by something. The dial was made of yellowed plastic, and there were 3 knobs along the bottom, their labels worn away to nothing. I dragged it out into the light and set it on the floor. There was a layer of dust on top thick enough to write in. I wiped it off with my sleeve and stood back, looking at it. It was kind of beautiful, in a sad, forgotten way, the kind of thing you'd see in an antique shop with a price tag that made you laugh. I checked the back. The power cord was still attached, wrapped around the base and tied with a twist of old wire. I unwound it and plugged it into the wall, just to see if it worked. Nothing happened. I turned the knobs, clicked the power switch on and off. Still nothing. The dial didn't light up, the speaker didn't hum. It was dead. I unplugged it, carried it into the living room, and set it on the shelf next to my books. I figured I'd look up how much it was worth later, maybe sell it online or something, but I kept forgetting. Days turned into weeks, and the radio just sat there, collecting dust, part of the furniture. I didn't think about it again until the night it turned on. It was a Tuesday. I remember because I'd just gotten home from a double shift at the warehouse, and my whole body felt like it had been run through a compactor. I ate a microwave burrito standing over the sink, took a shower, and collapsed into bed around 11. I was asleep before my head hit the pillow. I woke up sometime after 2. The room was dark. The street light outside cast a weak orange glow through the blinds, just enough to see the outline of the dresser and the chair in the corner. Everything was still, quiet, Then I heard it, static, soft at first. So soft I thought it might be coming from outside. A car radio maybe, or someone's phone. But as I laid there listening, I realized it was coming from inside the apartment, from the living room. I sat up slowly, my heart doing this weird double beat in my chest. The sound was steady, rhythmic, like breathing. Like something was inhaling and exhaling through the noise. I got out of bed and walked to the doorway. The living room was darker than the bedroom, the shadows thicker. I could see the shape of the couch, the coffee table, the shelf against the far wall. The radio was glowing. The dial, that amber light behind the yellowed plastic, pulsing softly in the dark like a dying heartbeat. And the sound was coming from it, that low steady crackle of static washing through the apartment like a wave. I stood there for a long moment, just staring. I hadn't plugged it in. I was sure I hadn't. I tested it once weeks ago, and it hadn't worked. I'd left it unplugged, but there it was. In das and then, das and des. On. I walked over slowly, my bare feet cold on the hardwood floor. The static got louder as I got closer, not by much, but enough to notice, enough to make the hair on the back of my neck stand up. I crouched down in front of it and looked at the dial. The needle was sitting just left of center, right between two faint numbers I couldn't read. The glow was warm. I could feel the heat coming off it, like it had been running for hours. I reached out and touched the power knob. It was warm too, almost hot. I clicked it off. The glow faded. The static died. The apartment went silent. I stood up and backed away, my eyes still locked on the radio. My hands were shaking. I could feel my pulse in my throat. I checked the plug. It was still wrapped around the base, still tied with that old wire. It wasn't connected to anything. I stood there for a long time, just breathing, trying to make sense of it. Old electronics did weird things sometimes, right? Capacitors held charges. Circuits could fire on their own. There was probably some logical explanation for this, something simple. I went back to bed and pulled the covers over my head. I didn't sleep. The next night, I stayed up. I sat on the couch in the dark, staring at the radio, waiting for it to happen again. I told myself I was being paranoid, told myself it was nothing. But I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong, that the static wasn't random, that it meant something. Just after 2, the radio clicked on. I heard it from across the room, that same soft hum of static rising up like a tide. The dial glowed. The speaker crackled, and underneath the noise I heard something else, a voice. It was faint, distant, like someone was talking from the other end of a long tunnel. I couldn't make out the words, but I could hear the cadence, the rhythm. It was speech, human speech. I got up and walked over, slow and careful, like I was afraid of scaring it away. I knelt down in front of the radio and leaned in close, my ear almost touching the speaker grill. The static shifted. The voice got clear. No one here, no one can see. I froze. It was a man's voice, low and rough, like he'd been screaming for a long time. The words were broken up by the static, chopped into fragments, but I could hear them. I could understand them. No one here. Can't see me. Can't see. I reached out and turned the dial, trying to tune it in. The static swelled and dipped, and the voice came through again, louder this time. Please, Please help. Can't see me. My hands were shaking. I turned the dial more, trying to bring it closer, trying to lock it in. The static warped and twisted, and for just a second, the voice came through crystal clear. Don't let it tune you. I jerked my hand back like I'd been burned. The static continued. The voice faded. The dial kept glowing. I sat there on the floor, staring at the radio, my heart hammering so hard I thought it might crack a rib. Don't let it tune you. What the hell did that mean? Was it a warning? A threat? Who was talking? And how was any of this even possible? I reached out again, slower this time, and turned the radio off. The glow died. The static stopped. The apartment went silent. I stayed on the floor for a long time, just breathing, trying to calm down. My mind was racing. There had to be an explanation. Maybe it was picking up a signal from somewhere. A CB radio, or a police scanner, or some kind of shortwave broadcast. Old radios did that sometimes. They pulled in signals from miles away, from places you'd never expect. That made sense. That had to be it. But it didn't explain the voice. It didn't explain the words. Don't let it tune you. I went back to bed around 4 in the morning. I didn't sleep. I just laid there, staring at the ceiling, listening to the silence, waiting for the static to come back. It didn't. The next day, I called Vernon, told him there was something wrong with the wiring, that the radio kept turning on by itself. He sounded annoyed, like I was bothering him with something trivial. He said he'd send someone to check it out, but it might take a few days. I asked him about the previous tenant, asked if they'd ever complained about anything weird. He was quiet for a moment, then he said no, said the guy was quiet, kept to himself, left one day without giving notice, didn't even take all his stuff. Why did he leave? I asked. Didn't say, Vernon replied. People do that sometimes. Just up and go. He hung up before I could ask anything else. I spent the rest of the day at work, but I couldn't focus. I kept thinking about the voice, about the static, about the way the dial had glowed in the dark, pulsing like something alive. When I got home that night, I went straight to the living room and unplugged the radio. I pulled the cord out of the wall and wrapped it around the base, just like it had been when I found it. Then I picked the whole thing up, carried it to the closet, and shoved it in the back, behind a stack of boxes and a duffel bag full of winter clothes. I closed the door and locked it. I told myself that was the end of it. I was wrong. Just after midnight, I woke up to the sound of static. It was louder this time, muffled, but unmistakable. It was coming from the closet. I could hear it through the door, that low, steady crackle rising and falling like breath. I got out of bed and walked to the closet. My hands were shaking so bad I could barely turn the knob. I opened the door and looked inside. The radio was on. The dial glowed in the dark, casting long, crooked shadows across the walls. The speaker hummed and crackled, and underneath the static, I heard the voice again. Can't see me. Can't see me. Can't see me. Please, someone. I grabbed the radio and yanked it out of the closet. The power cord was still wrapped around the base, still tied with that wire. It wasn't plugged into anything. It was still on. The static got louder. The voice cut through, sharper now, more desperate. Don't let it tune you. Don't let it. Please, you have to. I fumbled with the dial, trying to turn it off, but it wouldn't move. It was stuck, frozen in place. The static kept coming, louder and louder, and I heard something else underneath it. something low and wet, like breathing, like something was on the other side of the speaker, inhaling and exhaling in time with the noise. I dropped the radio. It hit the floor hard, and the wood splintered along the side, but it didn't stop. The dial kept glowing. The static kept pouring out, and the voice kept screaming, "Turn it off, turn it off, turn it off. It's Lishan, it's turning you." I ran to the kitchen and grabbed a hammer from the drawer. I came back and started hitting the radio over and over, smashing the wood, cracking the speaker, shattering the dial. The glow flickered and died. The static cut out mid-scream. The apartment went silent. I stood there in the dark, breathing hard, staring at the wreckage on the floor. My hands were bleeding. I didn't remember cutting them. There was blood on the hammer, blood on the floor. I dropped the hammer and backed away. I didn't sleep that night. I sat on the couch with every light in the apartment on, staring at the pile of broken wood and shattered plastic in the corner, waiting for it to start again. It didn't. Morning came slow and gray. I cleaned up the mess, swept up the pieces, and stuffed everything into a trash bag. I took it downstairs and threw it in the dumpster behind the building. Then I went back upstairs, locked the door, and told myself it was over. I wanted to believe that. I really did. But that night I heard the static again. Not from the closet, not from the corner. From the bedroom, right next to my bed. I opened my eyes and turned my head. The radio was sitting on my nightstand, whole, intact, unbroken. The dial glowed softly in the dark. The speaker crackled, and the voice came through low and steady. "It tuned you. It tuned you. I'm so sorry." I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. I just laid there, frozen, staring at it, feeling something cold and heavy settle in my chest. The voice changed. It wasn't the man anymore. It was me. My voice, my words, coming through the static, thin and distant, like I was calling from somewhere far away. "Can't see me? Can't see me? Please, someone help." The dial started to turn on its own. Slow, deliberate, clicking from one frequency to the next. The static shifted, warped, and I heard other voices underneath it. Dozens of them, maybe hundreds, all saying the same thing, all begging, and then I heard it, the breathing. It wasn't coming from the radio, it was coming from behind me. Low and wet and slow, like something was crouched in the corner of the room, watching, waiting. I turned my head slowly, every muscle in my body screaming at me not to. The static stopped. The room went silent. I couldn't see anything. Just shadows. Deep, thick shadows that seemed to move when I looked at them. But I felt it. I felt something standing there, just at the edge of the darkness, just beyond the reach of the light. The radio clicked off, the glow died, and in the silence I heard it whisper, "And I don't remember leaving the apartment. I don't remember running. I just remember standing outside in the hallway, barefoot and shaking, staring at my door like it was the entrance to hell." I stayed at a motel that night, a cheap place on the edge of town with stained carpets and a neon sign that flickered. I didn't tell anyone where I was. I didn't call Derek. I didn't call my sister. I just laid in that bed, staring at the ceiling, trying to convince myself that I'd imagined it, that I was losing my mind, that there was some rational explanation for all of this. But I knew better. I knew something had tuned me, and I didn't know how to stop it. The next night, I woke up to static. It was coming from the TV. The screen was black, but the speakers were alive, crackling and humming. And underneath it, I heard my voice. Can't see me. Can't see me. Please. I checked out that morning and drove to my sister's place 2 towns over. I didn't tell her what happened, just said I was having problems with the apartment. She didn't ask. She let me stay in the guest room, made me coffee, told me I look like hell. I stayed for a week. On the 7th night, I woke up to static. It was coming from our kitchen, from the little alarm clock radio on the counter. The dial was glowing, the speaker was humming, and my voice was there, calling from inside. I left before she woke up. Didn't say goodbye, didn't leave a note. I just got in my car and drove. I kept moving after that. New motels, new towns, different states. I thought distance would help. Thought I could outrun it. But no matter where I went, the static found me. It's in every radio now, every TV, every speaker. Anywhere there's a signal, I hear it. I hear my voice calling from the other side, begging someone to help. And every night, I feel it getting closer. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it wants. But I know it's tuning me, pulling me in, bit by bit, frequency by frequency, until there's nothing left but static and a voice lost in the noise. I'm writing this because I don't have much time left. The static is everywhere now. It's not just in the radios anymore. It's in my head. I hear it when I close my eyes. I hear it when I try to think. It drowns out everything else. And last night I looked in the mirror and saw the dial. It's in my chest now, small and faint, glowing just under my skin. I can see it when I lift my shirt, a soft amber light pulsing in time with my heartbeat. It's warm, it's turning. I tried to cover it up, but the light bleeds through. I can feel it clicking from one frequency to the next, tuning me in, locking me into place. I'm almost gone. I can feel myself fading, spreading out across the frequencies, becoming part of the static. I can hear all the other voices now. Thousands of them screaming from the other side. They're all like me, all tuned, all trapped. And I know any second now, I'm going to join them. The radio is always on, it's always listening, and it's always looking for the next signal. If you ever hear a radio turn on by itself in the middle of the night, don't listen. Don't try to tune it in. And whatever you do, don't let it tune you. Because once it starts, it doesn't stop. And once you're inside, you're never getting out. I can feel it now. The dial is almost done turning. The static is so loud I can barely think. I can hear them all, screaming my name, welcoming me home. And I know there's nothing I can do. I'm part of it now. Part of the static. Part of the noise. I'm still here. Somewhere, calling from the dark. But no one's listening. No one ever listens. Until it's too late.